We've been watching through Mr. Who's the Boss, his series on his dream house. We've watched 2, I believe. We watched his gaming room, which was unbelievable. And then we watched his living room, which it was still sick. But after the gaming room, I gave the gaming room a 9.9. I gave the living room, I think I gave it a 6. We've now got the dream office set up, which this is basically my dream office. And he knows a lot more than me, so I'm excited to see this one. Here we go. I'm excited for this. I'm taking some inspiration because you never know. Maybe I get an office in the future and we change this one up. And if I do, I need to figure out what I'm making different. Obviously, the setup over here we just spoke about on stream. I wouldn't have that again. Everything else, I love these lights. I love this setup. I love that. Everything else. What am I doing wrong? Tell me, Mr. Boss.
Are about to build our dream Zen office setup. We're going to spend the next 5 minutes buying all the tech and the fun stuff.
His office and studio is different. Yeah, this is his... Wait. So his office... Let's just see.
And then we're going to put it together to create the most beautiful workspace that you've hopefully ever seen. Okay, so desk.
Okay.
We currently use one called the Secret Lab Magnus Pro. It's just a little bit too
J-Train, thank you for the
gamer
Prime.
RGB for this room.
Addy, thank you for the 18 months. I get what he's saying.
I think my key thing is cable management, no cables.
100%.
Just complete and clean.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, minimalist.
It's marriage material right there. Marriage material. 100%. Cable management, number 1.
Desk. There's the E7 Pro.
This feels a lot cleaner, this cable management.
Yeah, it's right at the very, very back, which is going to be out of your line of sight. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Megan,
So
thank you for the Prime.
chair-wise, I've been internally debating a few different options. This is the Aeron
Okay.
by Herman Miller. You know the current chair I have in the studio? That's also Herman Miller. What do you
I think mine's a Herman Miller. I think I've got a Herman Miller. I actually don't know. I'm pretty confident it is. But I haven't set it up. You're meant to like change all the things on you to fit your back. I haven't done that.
think of the design? Obviously, ergonomics are the priority, but the dream scenario is if we can get ergonomics and design. Okay, this is another option. So this is the steel case gesture. So this is the one that New York Times said is the best desk chair based on its
Ooh.
flexibility. Also, the ability to customize. That we get exactly the shade of color we want.
That's pretty nice.
So they did a massive study that found 9 new postures that are not adequately addressed by current seating.
I sit like this. I sit like that. I'm the middle one. When I'm playing games, obviously, I'm different. I lean forward. But when I'm sat in my desk and I'm just talking, I sit like leaning one side like that.
Solutions.
It's pretty cool. Wait, so you start off working, then you're leaning in, lying back. Yeah, let's do it. I want to try every one of those positions on the chair.
So I found this the other day. This is the Samsung Flip Pro.
I don't know how I'd feel about having
14 years
like,
of covering.
Let's just say, right, me and Talia buy a house and we have 100 rooms. I don't know whether I would have a room that we would both have a desk in. Listen to what he said. Oh, I didn't hear what he said.
I want to try every one of those positions on the chair.
So I found this the other day. This is the
Right. Okay. I get it. That wasn't worth it. Yeah, no, I don't know whether you just stopped talking because everyone in the chat just started saying pause. I was like, what did I say? I didn't say anything weird. Anyways, yeah, I don't know if I'd have an office. Like, I don't know.
Samsung Flip Pro. And I swear to God, in my 14 years of covering Samsung products, I had no idea this was a thing. It seems like it's a massive screen that's got a touch pen, so it's interactive. You can actually project up to 6 different displays onto this one display. So every couple of months we do these team days where we get together the 10.
Every couple of months. Every couple of months. And you're going to get this whole setup.
And also people on our team. And so here, 6 people at a time could share their screens
What?
onto this massive screen, and then we can annotate on top of that.
That's a next level collaboration. Okay, I think we absolutely need this. So what about the stuff that we actually put on the desks?
So I think we already put together a pretty
$4,000.
banging setup in our old house. We just need to make it light theme, and then use this change as an opportunity to upgrade the things that we can.
To be fair, that is actually really sick. Now I'm thinking about it, like a more Sidemen setup with that TV. 6 people can all put their things up, and then I can, like... Imagine I'm hosting it. Yo! I'm going to see if the Sidemen want to do this. Imagine the Sidemen studio. I put... Instead of our, like, TV that I control with an iPad and they do that, we have a TV there, that I can annotate on, and then everyone else has their iPad. They can write their answer, and then they can go, boop, done. And then they all come up, and I'm like, oh, wrong, oh, right. That'd be sick.
Invisible undersurface wireless charger. You put this underneath your desk, and your desk becomes the wireless charger.
That's
That
sick.
is seamless.
That's
I'm
crazy.
not sure I trust it, but I'm curious. So one idea I had was if
I don't
we're really
trust
trying
that.
to go with this theme of like tranquility, nature, elements, some way to get a tree in here.
It sounds crazy, but I kind of like it.
Have you seen big bonsais?
Yes.
They look
That is
absolutely
cool.
stunning,
Ooh, I
but do you
want
know
one
how
of
much bonsais are? The more aesthetically pleasing the shape of the real bonsai, the more you pay. And for the nice ones,
That's gonna
I've
cost
seen them for like
so much.
100,000.
Okay, so what about fake?
Yeah, man, be safe for the gift sub, by the way, and Red Plums, thank you for the sub. Sorry?
And some fake options.
This is way bigger than I was expecting.
That's sick, though.
That's awesome. The only other option is we could go for a real tree, but just a different style.
I think you're right that it's going to be really hard to maintain a real tree.
Yeah, not
but I
100
think we
grand.
can get real plants around the room, but this one big tree can be an artificial one, purely for the vibes.
We should look
For
into
the
it.
vibes.
I'm really starting to build a picture of this room. Like imagine tree surrounded by rocks, and there's some sort of element of flowing water.
See, all
Enough
this is
aside-
making me want to do is do this myself. Like, get a house and go, right, we're going to work through each room, like, separately. And
Tricky
work
water.
through it, like,
Make it so peaceful.
Something
I
like
don't know.
this.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, this is actually crazy. They can create a custom stainless steel mesh to make the water have whatever movement pattern that you want it to. The only thing left to do was to finish off each of
Oh,
our desk
stop
setups
buying
with a few
Pokemon stuff, man.
personal touches. I'm gonna level with you. I was really nervous about how this room was gonna turn out. We took a lot of gambles here. I mean, I've never bought a water feature before, let alone two that are both bigger than me. I feel like this tree could have looked incredibly fake. This joinery behind it, just a
That's
waste of
sick.
space. And this moss wall, yes, we ended up going for a full-on wall-to-wall moss feature. It's the kind of thing that could have looked very tacky.
I'm so this room. I'm so excited to see this room. I've been telling Talia all about these. I told her about the first two that I watched, and I was literally like, "Oh, you have to see it. It's sick." So she might watch it at some point on stream, maybe. But I'm interested to see what she thinks about certain rooms. I already know she won't like the living room. She'll think the I keep calling it a cinema. She'll think the gaming room is sick.
I think we have just pulled it off. Welcome to the dream office.
Oh. Oh.
So, let me show you the
Oh, this room is sick. The only thing I'm thinking though is it's not a bad thing, but you see the shelves behind. I don't want anything on them. I know it's really pointless as a waste of space, but I don't want anything on it.
next generation desk setup, and then I want to show you my
Oh
absolute
my
favorite thing in
god,
this
this
room.
room is.
Okay, the Mr. Who's the Boss desk setup 2.0.
Does
It
the
actually
charger
looks like
work?
there's a lot less going on than before, but there's actually a lot more. So just for this keyboard, for example, I went through 7 other keyboards that I thought would be great before settling on this one. Every one I tried had a different issue. One was too high, so I got wrist strain from bending. One was
I get his point. Like, how long are you typing for to get wrist strained? Like, God.
too resistive, so it required a tiring amount of force to activate the keys, and another one
It's a keyboard, man. It's a keyboard.
was just too loud for a communal space. And I'm really starting to sound like tech Goldilocks right now. You very quickly realize that nothing on a spec sheet
I love
will
this
actually
man.
tell you how a keyboard is going to feel under your fingers. But then I found this low free flow, which is just right. Ready? Yes, it is glorious. Very fast to type on, you don't have to press hard, it's really low profile for a mechanical keyboard, but it's still got that great
Okay.
the thunk with each key. I love these little side lights that we can use to accentuate the whole Japanese Zen garden theme that we've got going on. But the funny thing about this keyboard, and actually the really impressive thing about this keyboard, is after I tested all these 7 keyboards, I handed them all to Drisha to test, and then I handed them all to Joseph, our
And they
everything guy, to
all
test.
chose the
And
same
both
one.
also decided that this one was their favorite.
Fair.
So they've done something right here.
I mean,
But
it
then
looks
this
good.
is
It looks good. I'm just trying to, like, it's whenever I see this kind of stuff, like when I see his setup, I just think like, oh, maybe I should have more like this. Like maybe I should have a curved monitor. Curved monitors, like the longer monitors, I'm on the fence of. I like having 2 monitors instead. I like being able to split it. Like I really like, if I drag a browser onto one screen, I like that just filling the screen. Would I actually change my setup? I don't think so. The only thing I would change is that side.
Nearly as important as the keyboard itself. I also went through so many.
But let's say I
we started off with this one
made
from
a whole new
Lights
one
that you could actually flip to adjust its height, but even on the lowest setting, it was too high. There's this cloud one that to me just didn't feel plush enough. I nearly gave up on this mission until
Bad luck, Sean.
I tested
David,
a
5
keyboard
months.
from Razer called the Type.
I feel like the curved ones make me feel like I'm in a fishbowl. What? You got to try an ultra wide monitor with Overwatch. It's crazy. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I would. You know what? If I was to do it all again, maybe I'd have. No, I wouldn't. I was gonna say maybe I'd have a different setup. I'd have like 2 setups, but then it's just overkill. And like maybe I'd have a setup for gaming. I don't know. You know what? Actually, you know I said about would I have an office that had like mine and Talia's stuff in there. I was originally like, why would I do that? I'd be tempted to make a room that had a gaming PC setup in there, so we could play PC games together instead of just playing online.
Ultra. Didn't even think much of the keyboard. But the wrist rest it came with, oh my god, this is literally everything I've been looking for. It's super plush, like a pillow. It's very clean looking. It's white and silver. And then when I found that it was still just a tiny bit too high for me, I realized I could flip it around. And that was a big moment. It all suddenly just slotted together. And then the mouse is the MX Master 3S.
Hey,
it's
Official AG,
exactly the same mouse that I
months.
used to use, but now in white. And that's
Keyboard
because
connoisseur.
this is actual perfection. It works on any surface. The battery lasts for about 2.5 months. The clicks are really satisfying, but at the same time silent, which is great when there's people around. And then also, you don't just have a vertical scroll wheel, you also have a horizontal scroll wheel.
Oh, I can do that.
Educating the masses and my wife. And then finishing off that trio.
What's the light
is this
above the
mouse mat.
monitor?
I just think there's something really nice about having an oversized mouse mat. And it's not like you're actually going to pick up your mouse and start using it over here, but it's the feeling that you can, which is, it's kind of like the appeal of open plan living, as opposed to having everything split into separate rooms, which is something that we were specifically looking for with this house. And again, we tried quite a lot of these before deciding that we didn't like the way that the stitched fabric ones looked, and that this faux leather was definitely the way to go.
Removes glass to help eye
taking
strain.
a step back for a minute,
Okay.
we really lucked out with these chairs. It's much easier to test keyboards and mice and mouse mats than it is chairs. So when we ordered these, that was pretty much us committing to these steel case gestures. But very first time I sat down on this thing, my back just went zip. And it was like, it was almost violating, but like very posture correcting. Then I realized that it's also like the most adjustable chair I've ever sat on. So I have right now about 6 different things that I can control. There's the obvious up and down. I mean, that works as normal. But then I rotate the outside part of that same knob, and that's actually seat depth. So the seat just gets longer. And that actually does make it more comfy because my legs are right now being supported right up until my knees. There's another dial here that lets you choose how much force is required for the back to recline. So I've set mine so that it's easy enough that it doesn't feel like I'm pushing, while having enough resistance that it doesn't feel like I'm falling. It is really, really freeing. It kind of feels like the chair is an extension of me. Like, I'm never thinking about the chair. I'm just thinking,
he's
what
selling me on
position
the
do I
chair,
wanna
you
be
know.
in? And this makes that possible, while keeping my spine aligned. There's adjustable lumbar support on the back. You can change how far the headrest comes out. But I've got to say, the crowning jewel is these armrests. There's a little paddle underneath them, and if I hold that, I can go all the way down, I can come all the way up.
That's pretty
I can
normal.
go all the way out, I can come all the way in.
That's not.
There's more. I can rotate them to whatever angle I want, and then I can even decide how far forward or backward they come. And the reason this is such a game
alone
changer,
could be a vid.
well, bring them to the same height as the desk, angle them in a little bit, come forward, and all of a sudden, this extends my wrist support all the way to my elbow. I can have my arms at the perfect 90-degree angle all the time. And I can say with 100% confidence, as someone who usually does struggle with typing for long periods of time, I have never been more comfortable. This combination of items and positions seems to have actually fixed a very real long-term issue that I've been having. And you can probably
No
tell
more
how much
injuries
joy
when he
that brings
types
me.
now.
Okay, just before we get to
Oh,
the
it
meaty
is so
back
nice,
end
isn't
of
it?
this setup, where I would say it goes from good to God tier. What is this? Well, we knew we liked the idea of some
I actually
sort
really
of
like
acoustic
that.
paneling. You want the office to be a quiet place, especially since we're so close to the kitchen. We started off by looking at wooden paneling like this, but it just didn't feel exciting enough. So
That was unnecessary. Well, you've got grass on your walls, mate. You're shit.
this is from a company
I'm kidding.
called
I'm kidding. I love him. I love him. Joey with the raid. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. How's everybody doing? We're currently reacting to Mr. Who's Boss. He's built his dream house and he's going room by room, and it's ridiculous. Like, his house is so nice. We're currently in his dream office. Joey with the 11 months as well. Hey, love Joey. Yeah, everyone drop a follow for Joey. He's a streamer. I don't know what was he doing today. He's also a dancer. He's a dancer. Surely the moss would cause mold because you have to keep it moist. I don't think it's real bad luck charm. Lots of yapping. That sounds like Joey. This room is nuts. You'll see more in a second. And when
and I think it's
wait.
absolutely incredible.
I mean,
the way it
thanks for
works
the
is you first agree on a design, they then build that design, but
What is the
split it into
logo?
lots of smaller
I guess
panels so
it's
they
like
can ship it
Mr.
and bring it in.
Who's.
And then they slot all of those pieces together
It's like an MW.
using spare moss that they bring with them to patch up the seams where possible. And what I love is that the day
does
this
look
thing got
sick.
installed, we walked in and
No, I guess it's
60%
channel
of the echo
logo,
in this
but
room
what
had just
does
disappeared.
that?
The only thing
know.
was there wasn't
Night
quite
steak for the
enough light
prime.
on it. So me being me, we created a whole extra frame around
What?
it so that we could have an LED that spills light onto it. And here we are. The end
That's
product
so
is
sick, man.
it's beyond my wildest dreams for something that we could have in an office.
That's
Especially
unreal,
when
bro.
you
This is
compare it
his office, by the way. His gaming room is one of the nicest rooms I've ever seen. He's done his living room. This is his
the
office.
cubby hole
Wait
in the
till you
kitchen
see
that we
it
used to
in a
work
second,
in.
Joey.
We tried to think of a joke where this is
When you see the
Mr.
other
Who's
side of the
Moss
room.
logo. Moss isn't very good. Oh, but then also, what about this desk? Well, this is kind of awesome. So after already deciding to buy FlexiSpot, the FlexiSpot company actually reached out to sponsor this video. And this is like the easiest integration we've ever done, because this E7 Pro, it's not the most expensive sit-stand desk. It's not the fanciest sit-stand desk, but it might just be the best one. The value is insane. It's just that the fundamentals are so good.
Mine's
This
not
thing
that.
has a 160 kilogram carrying capacity, which means you can put practically anything on this desk and you can lean as much as you want. This thing has effectively zero wobble, which is
sat on
honestly a
mine.
rarity with standing desks. Like, vigorous typing is usually enough to cause monitor wobble. Not here. And this tray at the back has actually been the only way we've managed to achieve our cable management
Sarge,
goals.
just save it
but
4 months.
I'm getting to that. And if you're not happy, then FlexiSpot offer over 30 days of a free return window and over 10 years of warranty. So
We're
you can
watching
just
an
try
ad
it.
freely. Yeah, man, because we're reacting to his video. His video is sponsored. It's a fair deal.
So, onto the back now. This
Look at that
is the
background,
Journey Nova.
man.
It's a Qi 2 fast wireless charger for your phone, but also an AirPods charger with a little mood lighting. I've gone for the AirPods Pro 2, by the way, because they sound great, the noise isolation is practically unmatched for in-ear earphones, and they wirelessly charge. Plus, this Journey also has a hidden watch charger too that you can pull out from the back.
Yeah.
It's a really sexy bit of kit, to be honest. But also, the way it's designed, it crams a lot of functionality into something that has quite a minimal desk footprint. Also,
like
I've
it,
specifically
but-
chosen for it to sit here so that I can still see if anything comes in, but I can't immediately reach it.
I've just got it on my,
for me, that creates
whatchamacallit, I got my mouse mat is like this, and the side has a charger, and an AirPods charger, actually. I didn't even...
enough of a barrier that
charged
I'm
it
only
there.
going to grab it if it's something important, as opposed to
Help,
something
I'm being
mildly
robbed.
distracting. While Drisha and I have gone for those on our desks, Joseph has actually gone for the charge it thing. And it works.
It does.
So when you're installing it, you get this LED mat that shows you how much power the thing is providing to each spot. And then you use that to determine where the sweet
Wow.
spot is, and therefore where you're going to put this sticker down.
So the idea of having my phone all the way over there and having to reach for it was a little bit traumatic. So I thought to have it right within hands.
That's
reach
sick, you
was a
know.
good idea.
So, moving on.
The
This-
room lacks character. Nah, I think... I get what you're saying. When you're looking at it from this angle, I get that, because it's like a white wall, plain desks. I get it. But when you see the like artificial wall, it looks so nice. And then when we saw it at the start, when he eventually turns it round, so nice. Thank you for the 44 months. Hey, love, appreciate that. You'll see it.
It's a terrarium that I found on Etsy. The way that I've been thinking about this is,
I want one of these.
Absolutely enormous,
I want a terrarium.
towering wall of greenery over here. If we don't tie that into the rest of the room, it's going to look really out of place. And that's why every part of the room, I've made sure that we've dotted it with elements of that mossy green. We've actually got some artificial moss that I put at the base of the big bonsai. I think it comes together really nicely.
I want to see that side of the room.
Now, on top of this monitor, this is the new BenQ Screenbar Pro. And this is very cool for a few reasons. So in our previous desk setup in the old house, we used to have the BenQ Screenbar Halo, which had this little puck remote that you'd use to control it. This doesn't even need it. It's got a tiny little speaker here, which emits very high frequency sound waves, which are outside the range of human hearing, and then it has a sensor that figures out how long those sound waves take to get back, thus determining if you're sitting in your seat. And if you are, it gently wakes itself. And if you leave after 5 minutes, it turns itself off, which is not just better for the old energy bill, but it's just one less thing that you need to think about. I literally sit, I type my password, and I am in. This setup is so easy to use.
I just don't understand the need for it.
One further less piece of desk clutter, since I don't need a remote for the light. It's also 30% brighter than the last screen bar. It gets like perfectly even desk coverage, since the light is coming directly from above instead of from one side.
If it's dark,
the only one thing that it doesn't have.
But like that room, like you turn the lights on, you know. Like, he doesn't need to have that on. Like, if it's dark, he can turn the lights on.
That the old one did is a light behind the screen bar that would light up the wall behind you to reduce the fatigue on your eyes. But since we're not up against a wall anymore, that wouldn't do anything anyways. And now, in terms of the monitor itself, as you saw, we ended up going for Dells. These are 40-inch curved, ultra-wide, 5K resolution screens with a 120 Hz refresh rate, and they are exactly as good as that spec makes it sound, while also tying in.
Clock. Look at the background.
In terms of the monitor itself, as you saw, we ended up going for Dells. These are 40-inch curved, ultra-wide, 5K resolution screens with a 120 Hz refresh rate, and they are exactly as good as that spec makes it sound, while also tying into the whole white and silver rule for everything that goes on this desk. Zero regrets for this, honestly, which is funny because I totally associate Dell with the budget bulk order tech from school computer rooms back in the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Joey.
This is where we get to some of my proudest work. So the Dell comes with a stand.
He's obviously a tech guy, so he's going to talk about this stuff.
What we've done is swapped out each one of those stands for an Ergotron HX articulating
behind
arm.
them, that wall, and then the other side.
It sounds like Megatron's best friend. I think it adds a lot to this feeling of openness that I've been trying to create. You know, the same reason that we have such massive desk mats. It means that if you feel like you want to move your monitor back to relieve your eyes, you push it back. If you feel like there's too much sun coming in, you can rotate it. It means that if you decide that you like your chair really high, but then your desk a little bit low because it gives you good typing posture, then you can just push the monitor up or down to still keep it perfectly at eye level. All with two other benefits. The arm takes up less room on your desk than the stand. This one is particularly enormous for some reason. And it has also helped me to pull off the most hardcore cable management job.
Stands are always too whack.
So
they're too big.
From the very beginning of planning out this room, we knew that we wanted to have 0 cables on show, if we could get to that. That was a crazy thing to say so casually. We had absolutely no idea at the time what where are they plugged into would involve. Because if you step back and really think about it, there are so many things going against us achieving that in this room. There's only 2 sets of main sockets, but this is the single room with the most devices connected. There is not 1 or 2, but there are 3 full desks which we need to power everything on. All the cables, they come out into the room as opposed to it being the other way around and backing against a wall where you can just kind of shove them behind and not worry about them. But then, as if we needed one, the final boss of cable management.
Look at the left side of the room. That is so beautiful.
Issues is that because we went for sit-stand desks, there's movement involved. So you can't just tape every cable down, there has to be flex. The long and short of it is, every spare evening I've had for the last 2 weeks, I've been in this room, testing all sorts of different arrangements of tapes and cable holders and cable management mechanisms, and one by one, we actually did figure out how to hide each and every cable however we
How?
needed to. Shout outs to double-sided transparent sticky
Emma,
tape.
thank you for the 20
these
months.
cable sleeves from
Appreciate
Alex
that.
Tech, which keep all of the smaller wires together to make it look like one clean, thicker cable. And
Under the rug.
this rug. There's actually a third set of power sockets in this room, but they're right in the very middle. We originally assumed there's absolutely no way we're going to be able to use them without turning this
Ooh.
room into one of those Mission Impossible laser tripwire scenes every time you walk in. But this rug only
That means the rug's going to be really horrible to walk on, though, right?
just covers the power sockets while getting close enough to these desks to make the power cables going
I
to
don't know
them
why you would walk there.
basically disappear, while also in itself looking like raked sand, just like you see in a Japanese Zen garden. So, powering the whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
then
don't get me
is the
wrong, there's no
M4
reason to
MacBook
be
Pro.
on there.
I've gone for a MacBook because I like the idea that I have one computer. So when I go somewhere, I unplug it, and that's the one I take with me. And this is, as you'd probably expect given the price, a flipping fantastic computer. The only thing I would say is
like that
while the jump
stroke.
between Intel MacBooks and Apple Silicon powered MacBooks was game-changing in terms of especially battery life, everything since that has felt pretty incremental. Like I noticed practically zero difference when I switched from an M2 MacBook Pro to an M4 MacBook Pro. And then just before my number
Okay.
one favorite thing in this room, a couple of finishing touches. So this, well, is Fluid Stance The Level. In the old setup, we had the basic Fluid Stance plain
have the
board.
basic.
And honestly, I think it's very expensive for what it is.
It is.
But then, like, it's not expensive for what it means for me. Like, if you properly measure
You know
the
what? Screw
materials,
it.
it's just a bunch of plastic and foam that they're charging over $100 to buy. But then, if you think about it another way, that
Do I use
plastic
it?
and foam allowed me
Sometimes.
to stand while I was working. It kept
more,
my
thank you for the
core
Prime.
active, and it gave my body something to do for 3 to 4 hours.
So the reason I got it is because of him as well. And you may have also noticed that his wife had the whatchamacallit, the cycling one. I got that one too. And that's because of him. Ugh. And I get it, to be fair. What's it for? It's just like, so the standing one is just to be, the standing one is to keep your core engaged while you're just standing there working. It's like, you don't really notice it, but yeah. And then that one is obviously like, if I'm sat at my desk for ages, I'm just doing a couple cycles. You're doing some exercise without having to like, I don't know. You're doing both at the same time.
Hours every single day, and that's very valuable to me. So we decided this time to upgrade from the plain to the
I don't know
level.
about the-
This is their top-end
I
model.
don't know about
and
while
yes,
sat,
it has
that's the
fancy
only thing.
materials, and yes, it gives you slightly more space, but I mostly went for it just because it fits the room's aesthetic way better. We got the Desk Cycle 2 under Drish's desk.
I got the
It's
Desk Cycle 1, I think.
surprisingly good. It's very quiet, and it's also got a surprising amount of resistance for something so tiny. Like, this isn't just something to do with your legs. It can be a workout if you want
Isn't
it
that
to.
lazy?
We also
No, because I have to, like, I'm recording videos, right? If I'm recording videos, I might as well do that as well. I know you can go on a run, but it's more like okay, then I don't have time to run because I'm recording the video. That kind of thing. Not like I'm choosing to do that instead. I'm just getting both done at the same time. And then I could always go afterwards and on a run.
wanted to get some speakers in here, you know, in case you want to have a little boogie while you work. But
What's that in
we're
the-
also very aware that if you have some big floor standers in the middle of this room, it's going to kill the decluttered vibe that we're trying to build. So we found these speakers from Meridian, which have a really wide cone of sound, and we stuck them in the ceiling. And then we found this subwoofer from the same company, and we knocked it up there. This is actually a really powerful setup.
I want to see
This
what
could
all this
well
extra
be
stuff is.
The backup rave spot. And then
This.
this is the Samsung Flip Pro.
This.
Originally, we were very much under a bigger is better mentality, and we went ahead and ordered the 86-inch version, but very quickly realized it completely killed the vibe. We swapped it out for the 55-inch one, and now I actually like it. We mostly just use it as a whiteboard. This is
Wow.
actually particularly good at planning out the logistical nightmare that is this video series, but with all the benefits of it being digital. Plus, like, just having a screen that you can roll around into any room you want,
Wow.
designed so that it can directly connect to practically any gadget you have, it will never not be useful. I just connect that perfectly. It doesn't do that automatically, does it? Oh my God.
Well, that was really good.
Okay, so you've seen
Look
light
at the
mode.
room, man. Look at that room. That room is so nice.
Good. Now it's time for dark mode.
Ooh.
And with that, this is my personal favorite thing about this office.
That looks
and
sick.
I do need to caveat that because having two large water features like this, especially indoors, is not a joke. There are layers of maintenance. You have to think about air humidity.
That's a fake tree. He said
paint.
specifically he wanted a fake tree,
Look at it.
which makes
so
sense.
So simple. Water falls from the top, and this metal mesh provides the easiest surface
That's
for the water
so
to slow
sick.
down. But because there's nothing else to it, and because we've added these matching wooden enclosures around the top and the bottom to make them look like part of the room, it's just so minimal. And I was saying this to Drisha the other day. Watching these things is so close to that mesmerizing feeling of watching fire. You get this really soothing sound effect, and it never looks the same
love this
twice.
room.
And that's the office. Remember to check out FlexiSpot for these absolute beauties.
Okay.
And they're also having a Black Friday sale. So if you are interested, now's a pretty good time. And I'll catch you in the next one.
I love that room. What would I give it out of 10? I think, what would I change? What would I change? I don't like the fact that the rug has all of the wires underneath. I mean, the best you could do with that scenario. It's an office. It's not a gaming room. Just to clear that up. I like the moss wall. I actually really like it. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I'm giving it an 8.5. Purely, I'm tempted to give it a 9. I am tempted to give it a 9 because I don't... Nah, actually, I'm giving it a 9. It's a 9. Yeah. I don't know what else I'd change apart from that. And that's not really a big deal because you're never really going to walk around there. Yeah. 9 out of 10.